Hello, so it's me, and this is hopefully not another false start, but I do keep having them because I keep questioning whether anyone wants to hear my story or if I have a voice or place in this world anymore. So that's really sad, but here's my latest update. I had a full workup done on my heart a year ago, and it was okay except for some tachycardia, which I was being treated for. And then when they found nothing there, and there were still problems with me being short of breath and losing the ability to walk far distances and things like that, so I have to use a wheelchair, I got sent to Stanford's Pulmonology, and they did a full workup, and unfortunately my results weren't great. As far as my esophagus goes, or my trachea, I'm sorry, I have some nodules that are growing there and signs of inflammation and repair, which seems to be everywhere. That's in my optic nerve, it's in my, nerves that run my arm. There's just sites that show evidence of inflammation and repair and inflammation and repair. So, just the nodules, not too bad. There's some redness. It explains kind of my sore throats and what have you, but they did this glowing test, and the guy talked to me about being a smoker, and I am still a very rebellious smoker because I know it's not right, and I shouldn't do it for my health, but I was the straight edge girl. I was everyone's designated driver. I didn't drink, I didn't do drugs, I didn't sleep around, and I have friends that were on heroin and major cokeheads, and they're all fine, and I'm the sick one. And so, no, I have not given up my cigarettes because my theory has always been that my illness will kill me before they do. And now it looks like I was right. Damn. They talked to me about smoking before the test, and we did the test, and he was really shocked because the area where it should have shown a bunch of damage from me smoking all these years did not show any damage, which they did that in 2004 when my lung collapsed, and they questioned me, are you sure? How long have you been smoking? Because there was just no evidence. So yay, still no evidence that the cigarettes are killing me. But what they did find was a thing called, I have to write it down, hold on, let me think. Tracheobronchomalacia. Diffuse airway something. I can't think of it right now. Anyway, it's not good. What it means is that a portion of the cartilage in my trachea and bronchial tree has had so much damage done over the years from the relapsing polychondritis that it is now at a 50% collapse. And what that means is when I exhale, my trachea is floppy and sticks together and limits the amount of air that I can get out, and that's, yeah. So the shortness of breath I'm feeling, a lot of it looks like it's from too much, I forget what, God, it's just so complicated and hard. Just forget the details for right now. It's not good. It's not. And when my doctor called and told me that, it was rough. They also found that calcification in my heart now, that in 1 year has grown. I was diagnosed officially a year ago, and I've been on treatment for a whole year, and I had so much hope at the beginning, but my disease has continued to progress in a much faster and scarier way than the last 20 years. It looks like this was also a problem that caused the collapsed lung, which all of the sepsis and all of the stuff that went on in 2004, they said definitely that was from this. And, I remember dancing one night, and all of a sudden I just felt like I couldn't breathe, and I kind of panicked a little bit, and I had one of our security guards take me and just loosen up my corset because I just felt like I couldn't breathe. And when I looked up that episode, it was within a month of the collapse and the sepsis. And so, yeah. But it was obviously not at the point that it is now. And that's why it was so elusive. If it's not there when they scan me, then it's not there. So now I know. It explains the shortness of breath. Like I said, now I have to use a wheelchair to go just about anywhere except in my house. It explains the sweating that I go through when I just try to get, cleaned up to go to a doctor. It explains the feeling that I have like something sticks. And it's been about 2 years. I tried to see a lung specialist 2 years ago and was sent to heart first. But it feels like something gets stuck and I have to do that. And then I'm fine. But the other weird thing that started about 11, 12 years ago was when I would blow my nose, I would make this crazy honking sound. Like like a goose, maybe? It's just a really crazy sound. It is not attractive. I blow and I honk, and no one could tell me what that was. And now we know that that is the actual trachea fluttering when I'm pushing the air out, and it's causing the honk. So, sucky. Very, very sucky. And the fact that the last two treatments, which spanned the 1 year, they did not help at all. My eyes are worse. My hearing is starting to be affected. Not only my vision and sensitivity to light, but also my ability to distinguish in the blues. That's all gotten worse. The fact that my heart was great a year ago and now it's not is, now we need to work that up and figure out exactly what's happening there. And the last communication I had with my pulmonologist was he went and had a meeting with the interventionalist Pulmonology team at Stanford, and they all agreed that they're not going to do a bronchoscopy because there's no point, because there's no treatment. In a normal, healthy individual, they could place a stent, but not for me, because the treatment could make the disease attack in a much larger way somewhere else. We just don't know. Anytime you go cutting into me now, especially in cartilage, I'm asking to just drop dead there. So unfortunately the entire team at Stanford said nope, and their response when I said what was next basically was the treatment is immunosuppressive therapy, which you're on, and that's all we can do except monitor you, and we're sorry. Good luck. Now that's on the heels of an ENT who was wonderful and said that he after he went over and updated, he turned to me and he said, "I'm really sorry you have this. I'm really sorry this is happening to you." So that was great, because these doctors are not coming at me like I'm a liar anymore. I am validated, and they are sorry for me. So it's bittersweet. My pain management doctor asked if I wanted to join this course out at Stanford that teaches people with, and I quote, catastrophic illnesses how to make the best of their time left. And I said yes. But goddamn, to have, people at Stanford saying sorry and someone else call it catastrophic. I mean, it's hard enough living with it and having had it, but it was so mild. I use that lightly because I did have a coma and shit like that in the middle, but the relapsing nature of it allowed me to still live. I would have a month of really bad symptoms and then, freedom for maybe 3, and that's over. Now it is, it's a progressive disease, so it was slowly getting worse. And the relapses were getting shorter and shorter together, and that led to me pretty much existing out of this one room for the last 8 years.
yeah, so it's now progressing faster, and it's doing it on the treatment. And what's happening now is a lot of destruction of my joints. I am having not only swollen and red-hot joints that occur, but I am getting all of these nodules on my bone ends that just all of a sudden are there. And I have, like, on this one, I don't know if you can see in this, but right here, if you were to feel the end of my clavicle, you would feel that it's much different than that side. And I'm getting them on my wrist bones. The first one was on my knee. I named him Igor. The second was on my wrist. I named her Inga. I have baby Lurch over here. I just developed this one here. He doesn't have a name yet, but yeah, I'm growing these bony things everywhere. And my big toe is like swelling out and turning into like a giant, fatty, chunky toe. Don't know what that's about. And the other one is having what looks like tissue that dies from the vasculitis, then tries to regenerate and then dies. That's also coming up. It's fun to have to triage your own body and your own symptoms to figure out with the doctors what's the most important thing to look at right now, and just, oh well, that's obviously something with your vasculitis, but we'll look at it later. So yeah, yeah, this has been a rough month. September's always are. I don't even know what else to say. I mean, this has just not been great. I've been sick for many years, and I spent the majority of them being second-guessed and called a liar, and oh, maybe it's Munchausen, and all of these things, and I've lost so many friends. I have had to rewrite my bucket list. I'm on now the 5th one. I call it my bucket list 5.0, and it is now only to places that are within a 3 to 6 hour driving distance that I can try and make. Yeah. So there's still a lot of unanswered questions as to whether or not the new med I'm on is going to work. I started it 2 weeks ago. Nix, honey, calm down, please. I started it 2 weeks ago, and it is called Cellcept, and usually most of these meds are given with steroids, but since I have a severe reaction to those, I can't use them on me. And when I mean severe, I mean it actually got me 5150'd because I went insane. And apparently that's my reaction to steroids, so I cannot have them. The seriousness of the conversations kind of took everything that was abstract in fear and made it very palatable. Yeah, palatable. I could taste it. And it's caused me to do a lot of reflecting, and boy, there's a lot to get done before I kick this bucket. Now, best case scenario is this drug works really soon, and my vision stays where it's at, my hearing stays where it's at, maybe my nose and ears will stop falling in on themselves or turning into, my ears are turning into tacos actually, they're curling, because this one's coming down, it's making it look on the edges here like it's turning into little tacos. Yeah, but if it works, it could stop the, trachea from further breaking down, and this would be the best case scenario, is I would feel exactly like this for 20 years. Okay, it sucks, but sure. However, after 1 year of treatment and me getting worse, I'm not real hopeful. And I find myself thinking, so the next conversation is going to be is it 6 months? Is it 2 years? What are we talking here? Because if this drug doesn't work. So I don't know what to do. I don't know where to go. I don't know if currently I keep checking for trials, and there's still nothing going on. The NIH had one last year, and the Ben-Yorin, I think is how it's called. They haven't had one recently. I keep checking in case there's any
treatments out there that we don't know about. My mom has been surfing the world. She's looking in Australia and France and Switzerland, which strangely has a high number of RP patients. But anyway, in case you don't know, and I kind of gleamed past that, RP is relapsing polychondritis, is an extremely rare disease. The numbers are a little confusing. It's anywhere from 1 in a million to 1 in 5 million. They're just not sure yet because it's been really, really hard for people to diagnose, obviously. And yeah, that's what I've got. And then I got a bunch of secondary autoimmune diseases, because apparently if you have one, then you are susceptible to lose all of them. And yippee, let's just see how many I can rack up before I drop dead. Yeah, so I keep rashing. My ears will turn like crazy colors. What's great is twice now while I was at Stanford, my ears actually swelled up and turned bright red in front of the doctors. And I was like, look it, proof, And that's actually what got me diagnosed and into Stanford, was I started photographing these rashes that I was getting. And my nose would literally bisect, and one half would swell and turn red. Just one half. It was the craziest. It's really cool. That sounds crazy, but some of these things that my body does, it trips me out because it's so fascinating. How can your body bisect and then just swell one side? How is that? What? How does it make shapes in my eye? I have scleritis, and it will be like a perfect rectangle of like blood. Most of the time I just have the nodules. It's exactly what it sounds like. The surface of my eyeball has a bunch of mountain ridges, and it sucks. But when it does the red stuff, it's fascinating because it draws actual like hard shapes. And my toes will turn perfectly purple like a grape, or beet red, and the rest of the foot will look normal, and yet it can right itself. It can reverse and go right back to your normal skin tone. What? Some of this stuff is really, truly fascinating. Just wish I could study it, not live it. Anyway, last point that I was going to make was I have had a lot of heartbreak when it comes to people, my friends, having to lose groups of them over the years because of my illness, and they just don't know what to say or do, and they just disappear. It's like my bucket list. It just, I don't know, it hurts to think about a lot. But, like I said, I've been doing a lot of reflecting, and I feel really bad that I got mad at some of them. I do. I feel bad because I felt abandoned. And I let that anger hang out too long in my heart. And I want that to stop. And in order for that to stop, I need to make amends myself, because it's not their fault if it's too much for them to bear. I was born a caretaker. That's natural to me. I am an empath and have no issues, and haven't since I was young, helping with my grandma who was dying of leukemia. It's just what it was. All the cousins that were born below me, mind you, I have 41 first cousins. I come from a very large island side of my family. I cared for all of them, and especially I helped out an aunt with her children when, she was really struggling after the loss of their father. It wasn't even a thought to me that other kids were out playing, and this is what I was doing. It didn't faze me. When my mom had a stroke, okay, so I moved her in. Like, what? That's what you do, right? It's not right. It's not right. That's what people who are born to do it do. People who can't handle it, they don't deserve my anger or my nastiness. And God, I know I've been nasty to some. They don't deserve that. And I need to make amends on my end.
So, yeah, I'm really hoping that through that I can connect better with some people that I've missed very, very much, and maybe reconnect with my family. And I'm so fractured and splintered from that side, and I don't know why. And I don't want that. I want us to come together and, yeah, I'm hoping, that's on my bucket list. I'm hoping to do like a family picnic and be able to see a whole bunch of the cousins I haven't seen. And I'm going to try and just get the treatment that I need to extend my life as long as it could, but make me comfortable. Even though there's stigma with, oh, if you take an opiate, you're a druggie. And how about no, it allows me to leave the damn house and be social. I'd like to start going out and seeing some of these people and seeing my old jobs, and yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy that it's not good. The disease itself was not good, but the fact that I have also neurological involvement, which is very rare. My RP is primary, also very rare. Stanford actually said, we've never seen a case like yours. Usually they're much more mild. So, yes. But I have survived and survived and survived things that should have killed me. When I was born, I was given last rites after a quick baptism because I shouldn't have survived. I was 8 weeks early, and I was like 3 pounds, and, you know, my lungs weren't developed, and somehow I survived that. And, you know, then I survived the coma and the sepsis, and that was during a time where the mortality rates for sepsis was something like 70-something%. The doctors actually had that talk with my family, that it was a 5 to 15% chance. The discussion of whether or not they would be unplugging me occurred, and I survived that. And the only thing I can think of, well, no, there's a few things. One, ever seen Final Destination? I swear to God I was supposed to die at birth, and I was like, no, fuck you, death. And I ran away, and then I was supposed to die again. I was like, no, fuck you, death. And I ran away, and death just keeps chasing me, because I keep skipping out on him. And so that's one theory. The second theory is they found something in my blood in 2005. They found that I had, I forget if it's too much or too little, factor 8, and that's a clotting factor. I had ulcerative colitis and ischemic colitis on the heels of each other, and so that's why they were testing my blood, and the opposite is sickle cell anemia, I think. I'm not positive. But whatever it was, they said, you have whatever, a factor 8, but we don't know what that means. We don't see that. We haven't seen that. We don't know what it means. My guess, there's something special in my blood. Something that the mixture of Luxembourg with Guam went in there and made some sort of magic potion blood that allowed me to survive all these years as I have. And god damn, I hope somebody studies me before I die, or at least pull some vials just in case there's something in there you could use to figure out a treatment or a cure. You know, I should not be alive 10 times over. I can't even tell you. But one thing I will say is, outside of this last, decade being trapped, I lived so much more than most people. I lived harder, and I didn't fear anything. I tried everything I wanted to do. I really lived life. Getting sick was a blessing for me because it really turned my attitude around. I was a very angry and rigid, cold woman for the majority of my youth and early 20s. And being sick, it's a strange blessing. It's my handle name. It is. I am blessed and I am cursed all in once. So, at least I know if I go out anytime soon, I lived. I really, really lived. And I survived 2004 so that I could meet my great love. And I could see into his soul and see his love, and it's all worth it. It's worth it. Alright, well, there's your update. So hopefully this won't be another false start where I'll then say, oh, I'm going to make another video, but I don't know. If you have any questions, like if any of you survived anything crazy like that where you really shouldn't have, and what is your theory? What do you think is making you or allowing you to survive? Like, is there anything about your body? Is there anything it does that just fascinates you? Even though it's terrible as a symptom, is it also not fascinating? Please tell me. Help me feel less alone, because goddamn I do. I feel so alone all the time. Trapped in this room. So talk to me. Leave me a message. I will answer anyone. Please. I'm so sad. Okay. Alright. Pathetic ending. Done. Thanks for listening. Bye.